Good afternoon. Welcome to the IPR game room. Today we're going to be talking about Fate Condensed. Now, Fate Condensed is a streamlined presentation of the complete Fate Core rules set. It is a 100% complete version of Fate, and it is a presentation of Fate Core, not a sort of quick play rule set like Fate Accelerated, as much as I love Fate Accelerated, playing it at conventions and stuff, and I do. This is a complete rule set. It gives you everything you need to play Fate Core, but only within about 60 pages. And kind of importantly to me, and maybe to a lot of the rest of you, it has an index. Always good. It's a great product, not only for new players. To digress, one of the great things about Fate has always been that it's traditionally had these really minimal things you can hand out to players to like play the game. Like the bookmarks were always my favorite, the Fate bookmarks, where you kind of would hand them out and you'd be like, oh, here's your player's handbook, right? There's a bookmark. Pretty great. This is, of course, contains considerably more information than a bookmark, but really it's the sort of thing that you can hand out to players as sort of a player's handbook, but it could also be used by a game master. It's kind of designed not only for new players to kind of condense the multiple hundred of pages of Fate Core down, but also it's presented as a useful open license backbone for making your own Fate product. So if you're a game designer, this is a really good thing to get. If you want to build out your own game, and you want a really concise presentation of the rules to use within your own game, there's an OGL in the front cover covering that and also discussed in it. So it's a useful product. Did I mention it's only $8? It's $8. So the price tag is right. If you get it from any number of sources, but most importantly, Indie Press Revolution, of course, you also get the electronic version for the same price, enabling you to use it for a backbone as a publisher and a designer. Like Fate Accelerated, Fate Condensed is really going to shine at things like conventions for adaptation of really cinematographic settings. I could see using it if you're sitting down with a group of people and saying, okay, you are in a B-80s swords and sorcery movie. And somebody would say, like Conan? And the GM would say, no, too good. Like Hawk the Destroyer. Right. And you could just run with it pretty intuitively with a minimum of preparation, as long as the GM has the bare bones of the campaign. For those of you that have made characters using variants of Fate before, you know it is a remarkably quick and intuitive method that is more focused around prose than points. Which gets me to one of the great kind of strengths of the Fate system, which is whenever possible, Fate Condensed, as well as every other version of Fate, substitutes prose for points. You know, the motto with Fate is always fiction first. First describe what you want your character to do, then reverse adapt the rules to explain how that's going to happen. It's a very good presentation of that. There are some small refinements in Fate Condensed to Fate Core. Now, Fate Core has been out for quite a while. I don't remember how long off the top of my head, but I imagine it was written coming up on 10 years ago, and published coming up on 8 years ago, if I remember correctly, maybe a little less. So there's been some refinements. There are 1-point stress boxes rather than graduated stress boxes. There's alternate rules for turn order. There's alternate rules for improved advancement. And perhaps most importantly, if you're a designer yourself, there's 14 pages of rules included in this for building your own Fate variant. So if you're doing something specifically with Fate, there's 14 pages of rules to guide you on how to build your own Fate variant to do it. There's a really interesting section on skills. How few or how many to have in your game, how granular they should or should not be. And wherever possible, of course, Fate always substitutes creative writing for math. One last thing that's true of all Fate games. I've always loved the ladder in all Fate rules games. Now, they're calling it the adjective ladder in here. It goes all the way back to Anne Dupuy's publication of the Fudge system back in the 90s, and being essentially the grandmother of all kind of storytelling gaming, or certainly one of them. And Fudge was built entirely around the concept of the ladder, which is a point-graduated sort of vertical presentation of how good or not good you've done at something. As most of you know watching this, Fate is the game played with a little plus minus blank six-siders, and the ladder is extremely important for determining how well you do or don't do in Fate. And as some of you already know, Fate was actually derived from Fudge as a system, as sort of an homage and refinement of Fudge, back in the early part of this century. So Fate Condensed, pick it up. It's worth having. And of course, you can link right below us in the notes to our entry in the IPR website for Fate. Follow us on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe to our newsletter, link below. And remember, game designers, you will never publish as many books as Fred Hicks has.